Hey guys, Evan from Gymaware. We're really happy to be supporting Coach DeMayo's podcast series once again. For those that don't know, our main product is Gymaware. It's the gold standard for measuring performance and implementing velocity-based training in the weight room. It excels in busy team training environments, and for many coaches, it's the Swiss Army knife of their toolkit. The Gymaware is used for athlete profiling, jump testing, fatigue monitoring, and for lifting within velocity zones. The system provides real-time feedback on individual targets, plus it's got an impressive range of leaderboards. Now, for those that are after a VBT device that's affordable, for the individual and for smaller groups, we recently released our new laser-based product, Flex. Importantly, it's been independently validated and proven to be both accurate and reliable. So if you're interested in either product, or you want to learn more about the velocity-based training and how it can help you as a coach, check out our website or contact us directly. So in the meantime, we trust you enjoy the Coach DeMayo's podcast, Outside the Rack.
The world of strength and conditioning is filled with some fantastic practitioners that are always searching for more. But more what? What are strength and conditioning coaches searching for to better their ability to prepare their athletes? Well, what about cutting-edge information? Or a place where you can find different opinions from forward-thinking coaches on what you're doing, how you're doing, and try to get feedback to be better for your athletes? Or what about a place where you'll find like-minded coaches that can provide solid coaching advice and career development for you as you progress through your career as a strength and conditioning professional? Well, this is exactly why we built the Strength Coach Network. You'll have access to exclusive monthly content on top of the sensationally active forum that we have, where you can communicate with coaches all over the world to find those answers that you're looking for to help you be a better practitioner for your athletes. So make sure you hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPs, that's strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS, and get your 48-hour trial for only $1. I look forward to seeing you in the Strength Coach Network.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 67th episode of Outside the Rack, brought to you by Kinetic Performance, the makers of Gymaware. In this show, we're just going to try to dive a little deeper into the minds of the top practitioners in the world of sport performance to learn a little bit more about who they actually are and how they got to where they are today. Today, we are joined by the Denver Nuggets assistant strength and conditioning coach, Claus Souza. Claus, man, thanks for being with us, brother. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm great. That's a pleasure as always. I love these things. So we get to chat and hopefully share with other people. So,
dude, I'm fired up to see you. I'm super happy that things are good. Like the last time we talked, there was a secret going around that people couldn't know, but it's like, I'm just so fired up that you guys are doing great and that things are good, man. And, selfishly, we're just talking a little bit about, kind of worried about how fast they're starting the season, but selfishly, I'm really fired up to get to watch your kids play ball again, man, because that team was, they're so fun to watch. But, before we get too far into this.
They're awesome.
Yeah, man. Before we get too far into this, though, who is Claus?
Man, that's a great question because people assistant strength coach for the Nuggets, women's basketball at Auburn prior to that and whatever. But, I'm just a kid that, grew up in Brazil, born and raised. And, I had a dream to work with sports and I didn't know in what capacity, what level. So I ended up just, finding strength and conditioning, and then one thing led to the next one and the next job and the next job. And now I look back at my dream of one day working with sports. I get to work in the NBA. To me, it's like mind blowing, and very fortunate and blessed, for the people that I have in my life and where I'm at in my life and, the things I get to see on a daily basis. I'm just fortunate, very fortunate. So that's who I am. I'm a thankful human for the life that I have and the friends that I have and the family that I have. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, and I think a thankful human would probably be how I would describe Claus, through our conversations and everything. Just a happy, humble dude who's always fun to talk to.
Hopefully. People say I give a cocky vibe at first when we first meet, but Everybody
Really?
knows, like, oh yeah. And I don't know why. Like, I heard that in the past, and then, good friends of mine is like, yeah, first time I met you, I thought you were an asshole. And I'm like, oh wow. Maybe it's, I
Wow.
don't know, because I'm a bigger dude or whatever. But
I'll tell you, talking about outside the rack. I never, no. Nah, I don't know, man. That,
man, I also think I had a little bit of rebellious mind when I was younger. So
yeah,
maybe
we
that's
all
what
were
it
like
was.
that a little. But I'll tell you, I mean, like I've been called a lot worse than that. If people were to say who were of the two people on this call, who would have been the one that people would have referred to that, I would have been like this guy right here. So it would have been never would it have been you, Klaus. Now the first question, I think I know the answer to, but I love this. I love hearing these. So I'm excited to hear if I'm right or if you've got a better one.
Okay.
I would love to hear a learning situation that brought about an epiphany in your career.
It's crazy. I feel like I have them daily, and if not daily, at least weekly. There's so many things that I look at from a learning standpoint, and I love to learn in unconventional ways. But the story I'm going to share was when I almost quit strength and conditioning, and I thought I just wasn't a good coach, and I was very hard on myself because of that. And I thought it was almost like years of internship, GA school, all this stuff, early part-time strength and conditioning position. I thought all that was in vain, right? I felt like I had basically thrown years of effort down the trash. And that was, I took a job for with women's basketball at a Power 5 school. And I thought I was going to knock that job out of the park. Like, Jay, I thought I would walk in that thing and be like, dude, this is cake. With the experience that I have so far, with the knowledge, whatever that means, it's gonna be awesome. And I had a rude awakening because things did not go as planned. From the buy-in of the players to the staff was great and supported, but I always felt head coach did not appreciate what I was doing. I wasn't sure if the coach was really like happy with me, and that just sent me down a spiral. And it took a lot of soul searching to try to figure out, how to get out of that. And I was waking up and going to bed thinking about how to make the job better, because I was like, maybe I need a different job. That was the first reaction, right? I need to get out of here. But I'm like, wait a minute, it's a good job. What's your problem? Well, your athletes don't buy into training. Is it my problem? Is their problem? And then I start going in all these questions, and I wasn't sure. I'm like, what do I need to do? And it was funny, and I told you the story, I think, before, martial arts background. I did judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu growing up in Brazil. And then on my way to work, I used to drive by this jiu-jitsu gym, and on my way back from work, I used to see the gym. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop by and see if I can grapple again. And this was in the middle of this professional crisis I was having, where I wasn't sure if what I was doing was right. And then I start rolling again. That's a term for when you practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then I realized that to every situation, there's an answer. To every Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu move, there's a counter move, right? To every attack, there's a defense. And to every defense move, you can set yourself for an attack. And sometimes you're in the bottom, pinned, squished, feeling the whole world is on top of you. And sometimes you're on top thinking you're on top of the world. And grappling made me realize that as a coach, as a strength and conditioning coach, to every issue in the weight room with the buy-in of the players or the conflicts with your coaching staff or with the administration, there's always an answer. And not that you know it all, but there's a solution and a strategy and a way to look at things. And that was my biggest, I think, learning epiphany, was realizing that within martial arts, I had answers of how to become a better coach. And everything really clicked when I realized that my athletes don't care about my love for strength and conditioning. They do care about my love for them. And what do I care for them? The moment I put that in front of the knowledge and the training application, that's when they really bought into whatever we were doing. So it was a way to look at the situation, not necessarily change much of what I was doing practically from a strength and conditioning standpoint, but it was more on how I was delivering that and communicating that with my athletes. And I think martial arts taught me that lesson. So there you go.
I had the wrong story. I was guessing the warm-up. But
oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. It's really, like, this is the thing. If I wasn't so old and beat up, I would really want to get into that, because I think that the big thing at the end of all of it, when people talk about martial arts and getting into those events, is how powerful understanding that the yin and the yang are true. And that no matter what, in anything in the world, there's a counteractive force of some form that can solve the problem or make things unattainable. Mm-hmm. And it's just finding that, and then being in those situations where people talk about that borderline meditative state because you're so dialed in. There's so much power to that. And I really, that's one thing, if I could go back and do over, I would have wanted to do sooner.
Jay, don't be discouraged about age. Just go try it out. I'm dead serious, man. Like,
I'm old.
No, you're not. You're not. Like, there's people, that they probably even didn't belong there, but they're there. And that's what makes them special. And I feel, even if it's once a week, like, just give it a shot. It's addicting and it's invigorating. It's just one of those things where, I mean, like I said, it changed my life. And this is coming from someone that had a background in this. And it's funny how a certain moment in life where I hadn't done it for so long, it became almost like this is going to sound cheesy, but it was a savior. It was a savior to my psychology. It was a savior into my practice, into strength and conditioning. It was it became a rock. It became something that gave me direction and purpose. So
I dig it, man. I love it, brother. But you're also a guy that digs, man. I mean, a guy who had a dream to work in sports, but has been hunting his way. I mean, shoot, man, you flipped hemispheres to come up and try to live your dream. Yeah. So a guy to do that, you got to ask some questions. So no. If Claus could ask one question and he knows he would get the answer, what would that question be and why?
That is such a good question, because I love the name of the show, it's Outside of the Rack. And I'm not going to go strength and conditioning on you. If I could ask one question, that would be why people act violently or selfishly in certain ways. Because I feel like a lot of the problems in the world today, it comes down to single actions of people. And I really don't understand, why, like, and that's not getting to become political or whatnot, but, you know, what drives people from, you know, committing violence acts, or what makes people do that? And I feel like if we had an answer to that, and I guess your question is like, what question would you ask if you know you will get an answer, the right answer? I feel like then we can maybe possibly fix it. And that's really what I like to talk about with this topic. It's just like, why people do what they do, man. Because some of the stuff in the world right now, the world is a beautiful place, but it's also very nasty. And, you know, I just wonder, how can we as citizens and society, and, you know, as people, as humans, how can we be a little bit better and make sure our actions are not, you know, catapulting some other effects down the road, or selfish reasons, and how can we help a little bit more to not be so violent, to not be so selfish? So
I'm with you, man. You know, I think for some reason, you know, all of a sudden empathy has become cool. And it's like, I didn't know that like not being a jerk was ever like a bad thing, you know?
exactly.
Again, like I've been called worse than a jerk probably today by a lot of people, but I don't understand like when all of a sudden like it became like this novel thing to like just not be a jerk. And
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But let me ask you this though. Did they probably called you in their heads, or even to your face or behind your back? Did they call you a jerk because maybe you told them your truth? Like, which by all means, I'm all about having hard conversations. You can ask Candace. We talk about like hard stuff all the time. Candace is my beautiful girlfriend. But people get so sentimental and sensitive to when you speak your truth, because they feel attacked. And to a fault, maybe you're not an asshole. Maybe you just told them a hard truth that they did not want to hear from someone else, because that was one of their insecurities. So is it really you being a jerk, or the fact that people sometimes cannot handle the truth, you know? And I feel like our field is very much, our field is very much guarded with that, because I have friends that I love, but if I tell them something about training or criticize whatever they're doing, I feel like we wouldn't be friends anymore. But why is that a problem? If you like chicken, I like steak, that doesn't mean that we can't be friends, because you don't like steak and I don't like chicken. Like, if you're a vegan or you're not a vegan, like whatever. Like, and that's the part where I'm like, oh, he's a jerk. He's a vegan. Like, why is he a jerk? Because he's a vegan. Like, those are two separate things, you know? But it's because not being a vegan is against whatever your beliefs are. And then when your beliefs are attacked, now you think everybody doesn't believe like you believe, then they're a jerk. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. No, it's just a different set of ideas.
Well, I think that a lot of people right now have become wired to the point where, and you know, maybe this has something to do with it. That was my phone for those of you listening and didn't see. But like, there's not a lot of conversations where people are just like, I think this. Well, I think that. Okay. Why? Okay. Why do you think that? Okay. Like, I don't understand why everything has to be so like, you're either in sport, I understand you're either with us or against us.
Yeah.
Okay? Outside of sport, I don't understand how there are so many things where you're either with us or against us.
Yep.
And to be honest, there's part of me that's kind of happy that I don't understand that.
Facts.
Because like, if I did, now, if we did understand it, then maybe we could help be part of the solution. But the fact that I don't understand it at least tells me, hopefully, or tricks me to think that I'm still open to listen to what people have to say, and I'm willing to change maybe things that I do because maybe there is a better way.
And this is so profound and insightful what you just said, because and hopefully this will tie it together appropriately. But my story previously, when I was talking about, learning epiphany or whatever, I was working with women's basketball, and let's picture this. Me, okay, foreign from Brazil, funny accent, funny name, male, super passionate about strength and conditioning, coaching female athletes, way younger, that grew up in a completely different region of the world, under a completely different set of beliefs and education foundations, almost two very, very differently. I try to live my life where my healthy habits, I think they're appropriate, 8 hours of sleep and eat healthy whole foods, the whole deal. And then meanwhile, I have some of my athletes that I work with then that, thought that fast food for breakfast is okay. Complete polar opposites. Okay, I'm a coach, they're players. So different, so different. Yet, when I really try to impose my idea of what it is to be right on them, big clash. But when I lower my level and I learn from them, or I coach with them versus coaching them, I became so much better as a professional because I learned from what they do. Right or wrong, I learned about these humans, who they are. And to me, it's not that I'm against what they do, but I'm learning why they do certain things. And that can only help me selfishly as a human and as a coach. And I know, and I don't want to toot my own horn, I know they at some point learned something from myself as well. And I think that ties the first and the second question, where, why do people do things that way? Let's learn, and then hopefully with that, we can get better together. And I think that was kind of what I was trying to get at.
Perfect. It is though. It's so much. There's so much to that, man, and there's so much to your voyage and to what you've been going through, and your willingness to share it, and the fact that you're finding learning situations and situations that shouldn't be learning situations or wouldn't be learning situations for other people in order to be better for the people that you care about. And that's what it really boils down to.
And you're so spot on, because it's in those situations, you learn how to love your athletes and your people for who they are versus you trying to change them. And when you try to change them, you're trying to put your beliefs, your personal beliefs on them. And that expectation is not applicable and not attainable, in my opinion. And that's when things get messy. And then that's when people start, becoming frustrated. I don't expect much from people. I expect respect. I expect hard work and all that stuff. But there's so much gray area in between that it's just being okay to understand why a person behaves the way they behave. That's just really the key for you. We're working with people. That's what coaching is. So why don't you understand why they think fast food is okay for breakfast?
No doubt, man. No doubt. But listen, man, as a guy who's always trying to find another way, as a guy who's always trying to be better, and someone who, again, like you said earlier, flipped hemispheres to keep pursuing his dream. at some point, even if you guys get like, I don't know, like a day and a half in the off season, Claus needs to come back to neutral.
Yeah.
So what's your escape, buddy?
It's funny. I'm gonna now tie all the questions kind of together, but it goes back to jiu-jitsu. You know, if I can work on jiu-jitsu, if I can watch jiu-jitsu videos, or if I can practice jiu-jitsu, I'm fine. That's usually my reset button. And of course, you know, being with family is tough because, you know, a lot of my family's in Germany or Brazil, but every time I can be with them, I mean, I really take a lot of advantage of that because you never know when the next one is going to be, especially now with the world the way it is. You know, traveling is not an option. But, you know, just very simple is jiu-jitsu, my girlfriend, and then just being able to like do whatever I want. I just love, you know, eating a good steak, you know, and if I can cook it myself, even better. And I just have so much pleasure in that. So a good cup of coffee, you know, that I pressed it myself. To me is just those are they to sound bougie eating a steak or your own coffee, but I just like the process of things, you know. I like the process of preparing the meat. I like the process of how am I going to cook this, you know, slow and steady or like hard and fast. And I like reading about that. I like understanding why those things happen, you know. So if my reset lies into my relationships, coffee, steak, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
That's awesome. I love that, man. I think that's great. And I think that, as always, Claus, great conversations. Great to catch up. Great to see you. So happy you're doing well, man. And always take something away from these things, buddy. And I truly appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much.
Super lucky to be here and, you know, blessed to just share a little bit. And then our conversations are great. So
well, I appreciate you, brother. Cheers, man. We'll be in touch real soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Cheers.
All right. All the best.